I compiled everything you need to know to lock in this 2026. And in this video, I'll be teaching you everything, like how to properly design your goals, ways to build new habits, and the key to long-term success at the end of the video. First, let's take a look at how to properly design your goals. When deciding what you want to accomplish this year, it's best to stick to no more than 3 yearly goals. This is because making too many goals can make things confusing and overcomplicated. Start by deciding on 1 to 3 things that you really want to accomplish this year and write them down somewhere, like in a document or notepad. Make your goals detailed and time-bound, as in, I want to accomplish this thing by this time. In this case, your deadline can be the end of 2026 or any other date that makes sense to you. The main reason why you should set a deadline is to get you moving in the first place. You want to get into a stress sweet spot where your deadline pushes you to get going without making things too easy or difficult. If you find your deadline is inaccurate and you need to give yourself more or less time, then you can change it. As long as your deadline motivates you to get going and keep moving, then it's working. Once you've set your goals, you need to learn how to master the act of starting things. In human psychology, it's widely known that the start of tasks is often where people struggle the most. But once someone is already in the middle of doing something, it's a lot easier to keep going. This is thought to have originated from evolution, since the people who gave up early during hunts got less food and starved more. But the people who never gave up caught more food and survived. You can see this everywhere in modern society. Nobody wants to quit a level in a video game if they're about to finish it. No one wants to leave a line if there's already a bunch of people behind them. Because of this, mastering the ability to get started is incredibly useful. The main thing that stops people from starting tasks is overthinking. People think to themselves, I could start doing this thing, but I could also do this other thing. And what if I don't like doing this thing? And so on. The best method to counteract this is the countdown technique. Count down from 5 to 1, and once you reach 1, immediately begin. You rush so fast into action that your brain doesn't have time to tell you no. If you actually need to stop later on, then you can always do that. But don't let procrastination, fear, or perfectionism stop you from just getting started in the first place. The next thing you should understand is how to build consistency. Building consistency is essential if you want to accomplish long-term goals, since it's pretty common for people to fizzle out over time. The first thing you should do is find a way to make your goals feel fun and rewarding. A common mistake I see people make is believing that a task is either always going to be fun or always going to be boring. But the reality is, that's not true. It's actually dependent on your mindset. If you believe a task is boring, then it's going to be boring. But if you believe that you can do things to make a task feel rewarding, then you can do it and enjoy it. People who quit their goals early often do so because they made their goal annoying to accomplish, whether they realised it or not. For example, if your goal is to work out 5 days a week, try listening to music while you exercise. Bring your friends along with you. Pick a gym that you like the most. How difficult something is to complete is entirely dependent on how you treat the task. You also need to make sure you don't overwork yourself, since working too much can lead to burnout. You want to find a balance, so you can still work hard, but not too hard. Another thing that I think is worth noting is that you will never be perfect at something before you become consistent at it. I see a lot of beginners in different fields withhold starting because they want to make sure everything is perfect, that all the stars are aligned just the right way before they get started. Although this might seem like a good idea on paper, it's actually a mistake in practice. This is because you can't align all the stars to be perfect, especially when you're just getting started. You need to get your hands dirty and make the common mistakes before you can expect things to work smoothly. The truth is, the best time to start is usually right now, but you'll never realise that until you look back on it in the future. The next thing I want to discuss is how to optimise your environment to set up your success, but often this is something that nobody actually does. Usually people don't optimise their environment because it requires changing past habits. But it's rare for our past habits to actually be aligned with our new goals, especially if they were determined by chance. The reason why improving your environment is so beneficial is because the right environment makes it hard to fail. If your goal was to work out consistently for the entire year, it would be a lot easier to do if your roommate was a gym rat, you lived right next to your favourite gym, and your fridge was filled with meal prep. In that scenario, not accomplishing your workout goals would become a challenge, as your entire environment would be pushing you towards success. To improve your environment, you need to first think about what your ideal environment would look like. What actions would your environment encourage, and what actions would your environment discourage? For example, if you want your environment to make it easier to go running, you'd want your shoes and clothing to be easily available. You'd want the weather to be moderate, your friends to be in on it, and so on. Once you've recognised the qualities of your ideal environment, it's important that you immediately start implementing changes. You don't have to change everything all at once. Just focus on incremental improvement. Each day when you think of something to improve, just do it. Don't put it off for the future. Try to do it immediately. Real change happens over the course of months, so just take things one step at a time, and eventually you will wake up right where you need to be. The next thing I want to talk about is shiny object syndrome and the pit of despair. Shiny object syndrome and the pit of despair are two separate things, but they are related, so I'll talk about them both now. When people start working towards something, they start with a sense of uninformed optimism. They aren't fully aware of what lies ahead of them, but they're guessing it's going to be beneficial. Over time, as people learn the true nature of what it will take to achieve their goals, they enter a sense of informed pessimism. This is often referred to as the pit of despair. It's when people first learn that their goals aren't as easy as they initially thought, and that it will take longer than they expected. Many people quit in the pit of despair and switch to another goal that they think would be better. But you shouldn't do this. Quitting in the pit of despair is known as shiny object syndrome, where a person switches from one goal to another because they believe that success lies somewhere in uninformed optimism. But this is not true. Success lies after the pit of despair, in informed optimism. This is where you recognise the journey ahead of you, but decide you're not going to quit. Instead, you continue forward and find actual success. When you are in the pit of despair, it's important that you do not quit and switch to something else. Keep going and remember why you started in the first place. If you want to change your life for the better, you cannot let yourself give up. Continue forward and you will accomplish great things.